The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Variety Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericavariety.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Crime Prevention 101. We're so happy you joined us this week. Over the next hour, you'll learn the tips, tricks, and vital information that will help you keep yourself confident and safe. Now, here's your host, Susan Bartelstone.
Good evening, everyone. Boy, it has definitely been a manic Thursday evening for me, and it's sure been a crazy few days here in New York City. The scene of the crime, I call it, where I broadcast from. I'm sure that everyone has heard by now that we almost had a terrorist bomb attack in Times Square, right in the heart of the city, the Big Apple, the crossroads of the world. And fortunately, the bomb didn't explode because two alert street vendors reported an abandoned smoking car to the police, who were able to defuse the bomb before the tragedy occurred. But it's been crazy, crazy, crazy times. But we were lucky, and I consider myself lucky to be here with you tonight. And what a show I've got for you. Oh, my God. I'm going to be talking to a woman whose story, as one-third of a bizarre love triangle, dominated the headlines back in 1992 when she opened her front door and was shot in the head by her former husband's 16-year-old lover. Of course, I'm talking about Mary Jo Buttafuoco, and the media frenzy surrounding her is still going on to this day. Now, we've also got our Let's Catch a Criminal segment at the end of the show, where I feature a different U.S. Crime Stoppers group each week, and we try and help them catch a bad guy. Now, tonight I'm going to be speaking with Larry Weida, president of Crime Stoppers, past president, rather, of Crime Stoppers International, because crime is international. And we're going to find out how they do the great work that they do finding these international bad guys. And we're going to start off the show, as usual, with our Crime Prevention 101 True Crime Report. Now, my buddy Tricia Griffiths from websleuths.com, who usually does the reports for us, well, she's taking a little time off. So I decided to move from the true crime forums to the true crime blogs and see what's going on in the blogosphere these days. And I've got a Pulitzer-nominated investigative journalist and author of 5 true crime books, Caitlin Rother, who blogs on one of my favorite sites, incodeblogger.blogspot.com. And we're going to be talking about a doozy of a case tonight. Caitlin, welcome to Crime Prevention 101.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Now, your latest book was called Body Parts, and it's the story of serial killer Wayne Adam Ford. And this really sounds like a bizarre case. Who was this guy?
Well, he's a former Marine, trained how to kill, and he got basically discharged from the Marines because he was mentally unstable, and they decided he was a problem. He had a mental breakdown a couple different times. And so they discharged him, and he kind of went from job to job and ended up as a long-haul trucker. So he basically drove a truck up and down California and into Las Vegas area, and he liked to have rough sex with prostitutes. So he would get them into his truck, have sex, choke them while he was having sex with them. He claimed for their own pleasure because it was erotic asphyxia, but he made them pass out. So this would go on 3 or 4 times. He would bring them back, keep having sex with them, and that's basically what he did. I don't know how far you want me to go.
There. Well, tell me about it. He killed 4 of them,
basically,
right?
he claimed that he did this with about 50 different women, and again,
oh my God,
most of them prostitutes who he paid. And he said, well, they went along with this. Well, that wasn't exactly true, because one of them survived and testified that she did not know that he was going to start torturing her and hitting her and choking her and that sort of thing. So she thought she was signing up for regular sex. She gets in the truck, and he did all this to her, and he brought her back, and she survived, and he let her go. Well, there were 4 women who did not come back, and he claimed, well, it was an accident because, I gave him CPR just like the other ones, but I couldn't bring them back.
Oh, my God.
So they stopped breathing. That's kind of how he put it. He never said, I killed them. He said they stopped breathing.
So he had done this at least 50 times, and 4 of them had died.
Right. And then he proceeded to dismember the first one, who was never identified, and he put her body parts, which is where the name of the book comes from, in different places. And when he finally decided he couldn't stop killing after these 4 women, he turned himself in with the breast of his most recent victim in his pocket.
Unbelievable. And that is kind of unusual for someone like that to turn themselves in, don't you think?
Yes, it is pretty unusual, and that's actually what drew me to this case. I thought, wow, that's pretty compelling. He had this relationship with his brother. They were very close growing up, and when he had done something wrong when he was younger, he would tell his brother because he knew his brother would tell on him. So he kind of had this sort of bizarre relationship with his brother where he knew that even if he got to the point where he didn't really want to do it himself, he was having problems turning himself in, his brother would make him. So he called his brother and said, I want to turn myself in. And he did, in fact, start backing away and say, now I don't really want to go. And his brother's like, nope, we're going. So he walked him into the station and made sure that he did turn himself in.
And please tell me he's in jail for life.
He did get the death penalty, so he is in San Quentin Prison in Northern California. The jury decided that even though he turned himself in and helped authorities identify the other victims and took them to where the body parts had been buried, he took them with him to this campsite nearby and had buried them there. And he took the sheriff's homicide detective over there and said, "Here's where they are." And they searched his trailer, and they looked in his freezer, and they found some other parts. And basically, he told them where to look, and it was pretty gruesome.
What surprises me a little bit is that none of the others. Well, you're saying he may have had up to 50 sexual encounters, so 46 survived this. Nobody else reported this.
Well, there were 2 prostitutes who did report it, and they were both going to testify, but one of them was so messed up on meth that she wasn't able to testify. The other one did, and she had reported it, but nobody else had, and that's true. I mean, I'm assuming they're probably thinking, well, who's going to believe me? I'm a prostitute, and that's probably what he was counting on. He picked the very vulnerable, troubled women. So even a couple of them actually weren't prostitutes, but one of them, was a hitchhiker, probably missing, but her family never knew where she went or who she was, and she was never identified. There was another one who was, I think, working her way toward being a prostitute, but she wasn't actually a prostitute. She just had 4 kids with different fathers and was using drugs and letting the liquor store clerk feel her up in the back for money and, was wandering around drunk and at the truck stop, and that's where he picked her up.
I guess there's also this sense, that maybe law enforcement doesn't care that much about what happens to a prostitute.
I think that's part of what he was probably thinking himself. These women aren't worth as much as the nice girls, so I'll go after them. Plus, his defense attorney got an expert on the stand who basically said, this guy really wasn't going out looking for women to kill. He was going out looking for women who would accommodate his bizarre sexual appetites and would allow him to do these things to them, and then wouldn't fight him off. They would just go along with it. And, he beat them and scared them. And, one of them was a heroin addict, and he took her far away from her home. She didn't have any drugs. She starts going through withdrawal. She's feeling sick. She just wants to go home, so she's willing to do whatever she has to in order for him to take her home, and he didn't hurt her. So he didn't hurt everybody, and he didn't try to strangle her either. So, I mean, he was with a lot of prostitutes, I think, and I don't know how many. I mean, he threw 50 out, but who knows how many there really were.
And you've got 5 books kind of along this line. These kind of
now, this is actually the darkest one, I have to say. This one drew me because it really is so psychological, and that really is what I try to find in the stories that I choose to tell. And I don't actually go into the gruesome, gory stuff. And, it really is, why do these people do this? How do they get like this? What are their childhoods like? What are their adult lives like? Was there any trauma? And what did the police investigation find? And what did the psychiatrists and psychologists who testify, what did they find? This guy actually had, a pretty bad head injury. And I think it's kind of ironic that he stopped to help somebody on the freeway, put his hand over this guy's bleeding neck to save his life, and a drunk driver came and knocked him off the road 40 feet down an embankment. And, this is how he ends up killing these women, by cutting off their carotid artery. So he tries to save the life of one man. He ends up killing other women by using the same technique. I just thought that was really strange.
And that injury may have been the start of his imbalance or whatever.
Well, yeah, and his family definitely thought that contributed to it, and that he got more and more bizarre after the accident. So
amazing.
But the other books that I have written, one of them is, they're all psychological in terms of there's usually mental illness with the killer. My first book is called Poison Love. There wasn't any mental illness there that I really know of, but she did have some personality disorders, unless you consider that a mental illness. And she was a mess.
You've got a new book coming out, right? Towards the end of the year?
I have a book coming out in February. It's called Dead Reckoning, and this is another former Marine who actually was telling people that he was a hermaphrodite, that he was a pathological liar, essentially. Married this young woman, fell in love with her. She fell in love with him. They had 2 kids. He really still wanted a sex change operation, and she really liked nice things, so he doesn't know how to get a real job or keep a real job, and so he kills people. And first guy is a guy he met in jail. By the way, his name is Skylar DeLeon, and his wife was Jennifer DeLeon. Meets a guy in jail, and, when he gets out, he convinces the guy to put a real estate transaction on his condo, get $50,000 in escrow out, gives it to Skylar. Skylar kills him in Mexico while he's out on work furlough, supposed to be in jail, out working for the day.
Nice.
Comes back, signs back into the jail. Nobody knows he's just killed somebody in Mexico. And a year later, he kills 2 other people, tying them to an anchor and throwing them overboard alive. Tom and Jeff.
Oh, God. All right. Well, let's not give the whole book away.
There's plenty more, believe me.
Caitlin, give out your website so people can check in and find out about you.
Okay, it's CaitlinRother.com. It's CaitlinRother.com. Okay,
and you can find her blogging monthly on incoldblogger.blogspot.com. Caitlin, thank you so much for being with me.
Ask the experts. Call toll-free right now, 1-866-472-5787. And ask our all-star team to answer your question. That's 1-866-472-5787.
Thank you for calling.
VoiceAmerica.com. After more than 17 years' experience teaching safety skills to thousands of women and men, crime prevention and personal safety expert Susan Bartelstone concluded that by thinking and responding quickly, ideally within 20 seconds, potentially violent criminal encounters can be prevented. Using techniques from many different disciplines and illustrated by 60 real-life examples and success stories, Susan shows how it's done in her new book, Think Fast and Prevent a Violent Crime: How to Respond to Danger in 20 Seconds or Less. Check out www.crimeprevention101.com for more information.
Do you know that over 70% of Americans with severe disabilities are unemployed? Are you one of the 2.5 million Americans with epilepsy? If you are, or know someone struggling with these issues, tune in to Disability Matters with Joyce Bender. On the show, Joyce will discuss these issues as well as others. She will have on nationally known guests that will offer helpful insight on disability matters and let you, the listener, call in with your questions and concerns. So if you struggle with a disability or know someone who does, listen to Disability Matters with Joyce Bender, heard every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time here on voiceamerica.com.
Hi, this is Susan Bartelstone, host of Crime Prevention 101, and I want to tell you about My Mobile Witness, a revolutionary service that transforms your camera phone into a personal safety device. My Mobile Witness believes safety is improved when you remove anonymity from dangerous scenarios. If you're in a stalking situation, for example, if you have an order of protection against someone, or if your profession places you in situations that are potentially dangerous, I want you to check out My Mobile Witness. And you parents of college students, ask the school to check out the My Mobile Witness University program with custom-tailored options aimed at keeping both students and faculty safe. Every campus could benefit from the My Mobile Witness University service. For more information, go to mymobilewitness.com.
We all share similar desires: to be loved, to be happy, and to feel well. Your Inner Journey is here to support you, inspire you, and expand your knowledge of you. Tune in for new insights, meet our guests, get the inspiration you need to create the life you really want. Your Inner Journey with Penny Calcina is about her inner journey and your inner journey, and the things that connect us all. Tune in every Monday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time for Your Inner Journey on Seventh Wave Network.
If you hear a dog barking or an angel singing, then you know that you are listening to Waking Up in America. Heard every Wednesday at 3 Pacific Time, Valerie Kirkard and all of her friends will bring you powerful and humorous discussions that raise thoughts and give you insight on how to live your life to its fullest potential. Adventure is always a must on Waking Up in America with Valerie Kirkard every Wednesday at 3 Pacific.
Women in business today face many challenges in advancing their careers and reaching their goals. There are corporate executives, entrepreneurs, and business owners that have made their mark in business. Now you can learn their secrets and tips. Listen to Women Mean Business as your host, Bonnie Marcus, explores how to thrive in the business environment, navigate the workplace, and climb the corporate ladder. Listen live every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Business Channel and effectively promote yourself today.
Tune into Inner Speak Soul Adventures Talk radio show every Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 Eastern, and learn how to let go of your past and create the reality you desire and deserve, allowing your inner communication to take place more easily without the interference of our noisy mind chatter or your ego. Inner Speak Soul Adventures with Gene Adrian, right here on the Seventh Wave Network.
Talk, talk, talk. That's all we do is talk. If you'd like to talk, call us toll-free right now at 1-866-472-5787. 1-866-472-5787.
That's it.
VoiceAmerica.com.
You're listening to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone. We invite you to share your stories, tips, or suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, and Susan will address some of these on future shows. Send your story or idea to solutions@fightsafe.com. That email address again is solutions@fightsafe.com. Now back to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone.
And I started reading about it, and it was like the hair on the back of my neck stood up, and it was the answer to all the questions that I had for 25 years. Everything I read was Joe. And it just was like, this is what I was with. Now, I did not know this. I did not understand this mental behavior. And I think if I had and know now that they don't change and they don't feel bad and they're never going to get it, I would have gotten out a lot sooner. So by writing the book, I'm telling my story and giving some examples of what I went through and what I feel sociopathic behavior is. Other people say, oh yeah, that happened to me, whether they steal money from you or they lie to you or they're having affairs and they're swearing they're not.
it's just a constant array of things that go on in this relationships that people have with sociopaths. And so I want to get the word out there about this behavior, that it's misunderstood. It's not, or they're not all murderers and rapists. They're regular people who just have some kind of a chip that they're missing in them that just can wreak havoc and go through life and not really care.
And they can be very charming and very engaging and completely fool you in terms of
Joey is one of the most charming men you will ever meet. He's funny. He's talkative. He helps people. He always has a smile on his face. I mean, he fools a lot of people because he's very good. He's very, very good.
And this is typical of a sociopath. This is actually...
Exactly.
And I know since the divorce, he's been constantly in trouble. There's all sorts of headlines coming out about him all the time. So I'm sure you just at this point say good riddance to all this.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
It's like now that I understand, I really understand it, where for many years I didn't. It's not a matter of if he's going to get in trouble again. It's when he's going to get in trouble again. And you do kind of live with waiting for the other shoe to drop, but luckily I don't have any contact with him. I don't need to. But we have 2 children together who are now adults, and they have to deal with the fact that their father is a sociopath. And that's difficult, but they understand it now so they can deal with it on their terms.
Now, you said on your website something that I thought was so interesting. You said that through all the lunacy, you managed to raise 2 really wonderful children. How did that happen? How did you do that?
I don't know. I credit, they're wonderful kids, my family. We had great friends and family, had a very good support group. And luckily they're not like him. I mean, the part of Joe that is so much fun and exciting to be around is just that. But they understand right from wrong, thank God, and they don't have his tendencies to be that way. And they've always said to me, Mom, you're the one that kept us together. I don't know. You just take it day by day, and I just tried every day to shelter them as best I could and protect them and talk to them and all of that stuff.
Now, I think your daughter was about 9 at the time of the shooting. And how old was your son?
12.
Well, I tell you, at that point, they are very aware that they had to have been aware of all the trials and all the notoriety and everything. And, and what are they doing now? How old are they now? My math is
my son is 30, and he lives in Los Angeles, and he works full-time for a credit union. And my daughter is 27, and she's a dance instructor in Pacific Palisades.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really proud of them.
And you also have a happy ending for yourself. You remarried.
I did. I found a man who is normal and is a grown up, and he's been through his trials and tribulations in relationships. And when we met, there was no expectation, but we just got along so well, and we had the same values and the same morals and the same principles. And I've been very blessed to find love at this stage of the game. And we've been together 8 years now.
Fantastic. And he's got kids also, right?
Yes, he has 3 kids of his own. And it's just wonderful. They all get along with each other. There was never any issues with them blending. It's just I've been very, very blessed.
Now, tell me about the work that you're doing now. Since the book came out, I know you're doing speaking.
Yes, I am speaking at anybody who will let me speak. I have just signed up with a company called Campus Speak, and I will be going around to colleges and talking about relationships and how to, tell a healthy one from a toxic one. I think it's so important and something that we don't really learn as young people, the signs for a healthy, normal, mature relationship. I mean, we see the divorce rate and the children from broken homes. And I feel it's a subject that's even though my story happened a long time ago, it's a very timely subject, and I want to share my experiences and what I've learned with these young people.
I think that is so incredibly important and also I think, weren't you and Joey high school sweethearts? So
that's right. We met when we were 15, 16 years old. So we were together ever since, and so I didn't know any better. And I write about it in my book that we were both young and silly at 17, 18, 19. But as the years went on, I grew up and he didn't, and I couldn't figure out why. His brothers and sisters grew up, and my sisters grew up, and he just didn't. And I kept thinking, well, after he would do something really stupid, he gets it this time. And he just never did. But I didn't know what I was involved with then. If I had known it 20 years ago, I might have said, I know this isn't going to work, so I'm out of here, and not kept trying to fix this relationship.
I think it is incredibly important that you do this speaking, because maybe someone else will recognize some of these signs or symptoms. We know that there's a lot of violence in high school and college relationships, and all sorts of things that I know that you can address beautifully.
Exactly.
So I'm really thrilled about that.
Thank you. I'm really excited about doing it. I really am.
Now, I do have to ask you one question. I think my audience would get very mad at me if I didn't ask about the reunion that you had where you met Amy Fisher face to face, and what your feelings are about her now.
Well, my feelings about her now, I'm very disappointed with the path that she has chosen to take in life. I understand that she's got a lot of self-loathing. I don't think she's ever forgiven herself for what she's done. She's 36 years old now and married with 3 children, but her job is a porn star and a pole dancer. And it's just sad that she has chosen this path. And what's sadder to me is she's got 3 little kids.
Mm. Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to survive this as well. But how did you come to the point where you could forgive both of them, I guess?
Well, after a stint in the Betty Ford Center, which was in 1998 because I became so addicted to the pain medicines, they were really the ones that taught me and showed me that you can't, all right, you can be mad for the rest of your life and hate these people for ruining everything, but then what? Now what? To go on like that. So I learned forgiveness, and forgiveness is a very selfish act, really, because you're taking the power away from them by saying, you know what, I'm going to forgive you for what you did. I'm never going to forget it, and I don't want to be your best friend, but I'm going to forgive you. And when I do that, I can move on with my life and not let you take up all the space that you have in my head and in my heart.
Fantastic. Well, Mary Jo, I applaud you. I think you will be a terrific person to speak and to listen to. Please, everyone, Getting It Through My Thick Skull. It's out now. MaryJoButtafuoco.com. Thank you so much, Mary Jo, for being with me tonight.
Susan, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, This is Crime Prevention 101. And coming up, I'll be talking with Larry Weida, who is the past president of Crime Stoppers International, and now with Crime Stoppers of Colorado. And maybe we can help them catch some of the bad guys out there.
Talk, talk, talk. That's all we do is talk. If you'd like to talk, call us toll-free right now at 1-866-472-5787. 1-866-472-5787. That's it. VoiceAmerica.com. After more than 17 years' experience teaching safety skills to thousands of women and men, crime prevention and personal safety expert Susan Bartelstone concluded that by thinking and responding quickly, ideally within 20 seconds, potentially violent criminal encounters can be prevented. Using techniques from many different disciplines and illustrated by 60 real-life examples and success stories, Susan shows how it's done in her new book, Think Fast and Prevent a Violent Crime, How to Respond to Danger in 20 Seconds or Less. Check out www.crimeprevention101.com for more information.
Are you a real sports fan? Get ready to talk football and anything else sports with Kwame Lassiter, formerly with the Arizona Cardinals, San Diego Chargers, and St. Louis Rams. Kwame's got the experience, so he's prepared to talk sports with you every week on Kwame Lassiter's Sports Talk. It's on the Voice America Sports Network every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, noon Eastern Time. Get ready for unpredictable fun and sometimes a sarcastic look at the world of sports. That's Kwame Lassiter's Sports Talk on the Voice America Sports Network.
You gotta believe. Listen up. Conceive Magazine is now on the air, live and on demand on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Hosted by Kim Hahn, founder of Conceive Magazine. Conceive On Air offers comfort and emotional support to women contemplating starting or expanding their family by consulting noted professional experts and by sharing the insights and experiences of others. Kim wants to share her experiences to educate and empower women. Conceive On Air is the only complete resource destination that inspires and informs future moms about their fertility on the journey to parenthood. Conceive On Air with Kim Hahn, celebrating the creation of families.
Think of the world 50 years ago. Now think of this same world and how it'll be 50 years from now. Did you know that if the world's population continues to grow at its current rate, our children and grandchildren will only have 25% of the resources per capita that our parents and grandparents had? We must preserve the foundation of a quality standard of living. That foundation starts with Go Green Radio. Join your host, Jill Buck, for Go Green Radio every Friday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Voice America.
Stimulating talk gets those synapses in the brain firing really fast.
All the time. The #1 Internet talk station where your opinion counts. VoiceAmerica.com.
You're listening to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone. We invite you to share your stories, tips, or suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, and Susan will address some of these on future shows. Send your story or idea to solutions@fightsafe.com. That email address again is solutions@fightsafe.com. Now, back to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone.
Hello again and welcome back. This is Susan Bartelstone, and I want to remind you that Crime Prevention 101 is available on iTunes, so you don't even have to be at your computer to listen to all this goodness. And don't forget that we also have a blog site, crimeprevention101.com, where I post links to my wonderful guests and more information about show topics. And be sure to check that out, crimeprevention101.com. All right, now let's go to our Crime Stoppers segment, and I'm talking with Larry Weida, who's the past president of Crime Stoppers International, and he's now the president of Northern Colorado Crime Stoppers. Larry, welcome to Crime Prevention 101.
Well, thanks for having me on this evening.
Well, it is an absolute pleasure to have you with me because I was looking at your resume. You have had a distinguished career. I mean, this resume is 7 pages long. I think started in 1973 in New York.
Right.
Correct? My hometown.
Yeah.
And then you were in law enforcement and then went to work with Crime Stoppers.
Well, yeah, I became a police officer in Boulder, Colorado, and then started the Crime Stoppers in Boulder in 1982.
All right, now tell everybody who doesn't know, talk about what Crime Stoppers is.
Well, Crime Stoppers is a very, very unique program that started back in 1976. And the program is designed to gather information, guarantee the anonymity of an informant, and pay rewards that are raised by boards of directors. All Crime Stopper programs are 501c3 nonprofit organizations. They don't belong to the police department. They actually belong to the citizens of the communities. And they've been operating, like I said, since 1976. And at this present time, we have over 1,200 known programs throughout the world and 25 different nations, and there's a whole group of other new countries coming on board that are in the process of developing those programs. And Crime Stoppers actually started out in Albuquerque, and it was Crime Stoppers USA, and then in 1984 it became Crime Stoppers International. Our first Canadian programs got on board, and then expanded from there to 17 different countries while I was the president, and now we're up to 25. And then, what ended up happening, it's now each nation has a national program. So now we're Crime Stoppers USA. And in the United States, we have over 240 programs that are actually registered with Crime Stoppers USA and working under the umbrella and how the program actually started and working within those guidelines. So each one is independent. Each one is owned by the community, not law enforcement. There is no government money that is donated to the program. Rewards are paid based on the type of crime. We're fully electronic. I mean, we've come a long way from the old days of sitting on the telephone questioning somebody that's called up to give us information. Now we can do it electronically, cell phone, two-way conversation. We've got it all. The electronic
and website too, right?
And a website, yeah.
Yeah, all the Crime Stoppers have websites, and you can put your tips right there on the websites there.
Yeah, and the amazing part, the new part of it, is that we can actually talk with the tipster two-way on the computer, and still they stay anonymous. There's no way to track the information. Everything's encrypted and coded. So we can ask questions right then and there, and then if there's something else that comes along, a detective needs more information, we can send that tip back out to the person that contacted us and ask those additional questions. So it's really an amazing program, and the technology has just pushed us years ahead.
And thankfully, and we can do this and maybe catch some of these bad guys internationally, which would be absolutely fantastic.
We've got a new program that Kevin Anderson of Anderson Software is the designer of most of the software programs that we use, and they're just getting the package together. And some of the organizations are now using it. We're going to have a international fugitive list, and you're going to have that capability of getting online any place in the world. If you spot somebody, you can get through a Crime Stoppers program, and hopefully you can get that information and pick that individual up as quickly as possible. And with the terrorist activity that's going on worldwide, Crime Stoppers has received numerous tips since 1994 when the first Trade Center was hit, and then continually after that, every time something that comes up, we do get tips on that particular activity. And we do. And
I can tell you, in the Crime Stoppers in New York City, where I am, is very heavily involved with tips about the attempted terrorist attack that was just sort of thwarted, I guess you'd say.
Yes.
Just recently, in Crime Stoppers, people called in tips to Crime Stoppers about this fellow, and they're right in the heart of all the action here. It's absolutely fantastic.
It's a great program. Now we just got to get more people to realize it and use it.
That's one of the reasons that I'm doing these programs, to try and raise awareness for you guys, and I hope it have helped a little bit anyway.
That's good. That's good. You need all the help you can get.
There's one quick thing that I wanted to ask you. Just have a few minutes.
Sure.
What is the Scholastic Crime Stoppers program, which you were instrumental in developing? I think I read there's over about 3,000 of them around the world.
Yeah, I started the program back in 1983 based on the students at one of our high schools were brought it to the attention of the administration that they were being victimized and nobody was paying attention. And I went to work with the kids and the administration to design the program to fit inside the confines of the schools, guaranteeing the anonymity of the students that gave us the information. Built it so the program was designed specifically that it would work within the confines of the school and still allow the adjudication authority of the administration to operate the way they normally did. And we didn't have SROs at that particular time, but now the program has changed, and we've updated a lot of the information. The SROs, school resource officers, are now heavily involved with the information, the administration, the local board, and then the students. So with the new text messaging part of the program that we just recently put together, the kids have the capability of using their text messaging also to get information to us about crimes going on campus. And plus, the other part of it is we developed a website that the kids can go online and give us information about what's going on at their school. And it's been extremely successful. We've got over 3,000 programs that we've set up around the world. And the unfortunate part is that it's still one of the best-kept secrets based on just the fact of the information coming out. In many cases, people are reluctant, or communities are reluctant.
If we can let them know that it's anonymous, then that's going to help, and I'm going to do my part for you. Very quickly, Larry, give out the Northern Colorado website in case people want to.
If you want to get in touch with us, you can put us on the computer at www.NOCO Crime Stoppers. That's NOCO Crime Stoppers, spelled out, .com. And that'll get you into our website. And if you're in any other community that you might be listening, just go on to any website and just type in Crime Stoppers, and you'll get all of the Crime Stopper programs, and then you could find the one in your community that you can deal with.
That's closest to you. Larry, thank you so much. I can't believe how the time has flown. Well, that's a wrap now for Crime Prevention 101. Please don't forget that we always love to hear from you. By all means, go to my host page on the voiceamerica.com website and post your comments and suggestions. And you and I will be doing this again next week when I'll have more stories that demand to be told, more hot crime topics, and, of course, lots of tips and resources for you. It'd be a crime not to listen, so stay tuned and stay safe.
We hope you got some useful information and inspiration this week on Crime Prevention 101. Susan Bartelstone invites you to join us again next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific at 8 p.m. Eastern Time here on Voice America. If you want to learn more about Susan's guest, sign up for her newsletter, or find out about upcoming teleseminars and workshops, go to www.crimeprevention101.com today. Have a great week and a safe week.